Hello friends, welcome back. I'm Beth, here to help you fulfill your potential in meditation. As most of you know, I don't have just one method that I teach to everybody, like one size fits all. Instead, I much prefer to teach people one-on-one. And the reason is that you're all different. So please use these videos as a guideline. And if there's anything that isn't quite working for you, anything that doesn't quite fit, then be in touch. And I'll be more than happy to discuss those things with you one-on-one. Today's video is about overcoming bad habits, and if we're honest with ourselves, this is something that most of us could probably do with putting a little bit of attention on. The Buddha gave this wonderful simile for deepening meditation, and he described it as when we come to meditation, it's like we're cleaning out a dirty cloth. Now, when we clean out a dirty cloth, the first thing that we see isn't a bright, shiny cloth. The first thing that we see is all the dirt coming out. And oftentimes when we see that dirt coming out of our minds, what we're actually seeing is the impact of our own bad habits. Now, bad habits, as you know, can take many forms. It could be things like too much screen time. It could be addictions and attachments to different types of food. It could be bad speech habits. It could be many different things. The point is that all of these bad habits take their toll on the purity of our mind. And so today I want to offer 5 strategies for overcoming bad habits, and feel free to try these out and see if they help you in your own lives. So the first strategy that I want to offer today is building accountability into our bad habit. A great example is a friend of mine who wanted to overcome a bad speech habit of swearing, and so she got herself a swear jar, and every time that she would swear, she would put £1 in that swear jar. And eventually she collected some money and she could gift it away. She could make it dana. Another way of building accountability into a bad habit is to get an accountability buddy or a friend who we can speak to every time we're maybe tempted or every time we engage in that bad habit. And what that accountability does is it helps us build a lot of awareness around the way that we are engaging with this bad habit. The second strategy that I'm going to offer is to replace our bad habit with something that is less harmful, or maybe even something that is beneficial. So a great example from my own life is I used to have a very strong coffee habit, drinking a lot of coffee, and I've now replaced it with, I'm not sure what you would call it in your countries, but in Spain it's called Echo, and it's like a cereal chicory drink that tastes a little bit like coffee, but it's more healthy. Now, if I was going to turn it into something even more beneficial, I could replace it with maybe a fresh juice or a green juice, something like that. So replacing whatever might be our bad habit with something that is either less harmful or beneficial. If you're engaged in too much screen time, for example, you could at least try watching Dharma videos, meditation videos, or you could try maybe reading a book. So we're moving from more coarse forms of the habit to more subtle forms of the habit. A third strategy that I would suggest for overcoming bad habits is building a quality of mind that in Pali we call adhitthana. Usually they translate adhitthana as something like decision or determination, and this is the quality of mind that knows the direction and doesn't negotiate. Now, this is very much a muscle of mind that we need to build over time. We can build that muscle of adhitthana on our bad habit. We can also build it in other ways, more benign ways. So a very common example that I hear at the moment of the way that people build adhitthana is exposing themselves to cold water. It's kind of trending at the moment. But that mind that wants to hesitate but doesn't, there I go. And when that force of adhitthana is well developed in our mind, then as soon as we say no to our bad habit, we won't do it anymore. It's the quality of mind that doesn't negotiate. So gradually building this quality of adhitthana in the mind is going to help us overcome our bad habit. Now, the fourth strategy I'm going to suggest today for overcoming bad habits is practicing loving kindness to ourselves. When we practice loving kindness to ourselves, first of all, we become in touch with our own best wish for ourselves. And so we can look at our engagement with this bad habit and we can ask ourselves, is this really the best that I want for myself? As someone who loves me, is this really how I want to be using my time? And as we practice loving kindness for ourselves, sometimes we can get in touch with a force or an inspiration that carries us out of that bad habit. Also, as we practice loving kindness to ourselves, sometimes we can get in touch with any pain that might be underlying the bad habit. So if there's something painful in our experience, we might be trying to avoid it with that bad habit. And as we can bring our loving kindness to that pain, we might start to loosen the need to engage in that bad habit. So practicing loving kindness to ourselves is the fourth strategy for overcoming bad habits. Now, if all of those has failed, then the last strategy I'm going to suggest today is investigating the gratification and the danger of that bad habit. And we need to do this in real time. So in the run-up to engaging in our bad habit, we can look at all of the gratification points. What feels good about the anticipation, maybe even the fantasizing about this bad habit? What feels good when we are actually engaging in this bad habit? Can we put our mindfulness on all of those gratification points? And what feels good afterwards? What feels good after we've engaged in the bad habit? It's amazing how actually seeing and acknowledging those gratification points with our wisdom helps us disenchant from that bad habit. And once we've fully seen all of the gratification points, then we can put our mindfulness on the danger. What's the danger in the run-up, in the anticipation to engaging in this bad habit? What's the danger whilst we're engaging in it? And what is the danger afterwards? Again, when we see those things with wisdom, it's going to help us disenchant from whatever bad habit we're engaging in. So those are my 5 suggestions today for ways to overcome bad habits. Maybe you've got some other methods of your own that you use, in which case please feel free to put those in the chat. If there's anything that isn't working for you or anything that's confusing you, then please feel free to be in touch with me, and I'll be more than happy to discuss these things with you individually. As most of you know, I do all of my work on a donation basis, so I encourage you to support me either through Patreon or through my website so that I can continue to make these videos. Thank you so much for your support. Wishing you the best with your meditation.